Hey, Dan Meyer here, and today we're going to talk about top 10 trends in data analytics for 2021. So this is an article I pulled off of from Gartner by Lawrence Godastuff. We'll call him Godastuff. I think it's Lawrence Godastuff. So cool last name. So Lawrence was talking about this on Gartner's website. For those of you who don't know, Gartner's like the end-all be-all of analyzing different types of software, especially analytics software or applications that allow you to crunch numbers in a business. And this is something I've been doing for 25 years. Like way back when at Wells Fargo for 15 years, I was like one of the top analysts in the bank. I crunched all kinds of numbers from all over the bank about all kinds of stuff, trying to figure out how to understand client behavior, trying to figure out how to project or predict what we should do as far as new offers, trying to figure out how we can take advantage of new expansion opportunities. I got deep in the data. And when I did that, I learned how really businesses can make better decisions with data. And so I want to share with you some of my takes on these articles, these 10 tips or 10 trends, I should say, that Lawrence talked about in his article on Gartner, because I think there's something that we can think about. How do we apply these 10 different trends to what we do with data? Number one is that AI is here to stay, right? This is like first and foremost, AI significantly changed the way we use data. Machines are now telling us which data is most relevant instead of us having to search for it. They're identifying trends we could never see ourselves. They're helping us make models and run scenarios much faster than we could ever do ourselves. So we're able to make much better, quicker, faster, more efficient, more profitable decisions when we have AI as part of the process. I don't think AI will ever completely replace humans in analytics. We still need the human eye to look at things and see if it makes sense. And if you always just go with the data, you're going to sometimes make the mistake of going for the supporting the needs of the many instead of the needs of the few or the one. Star Trek quote there for you. Basically, AI is here to stay, but it's always going to be a tool that we use, not something that we replace with. But how do you use AI in your business is number one. If you're not using AI and you're doing analytics, you're a dinosaur. So you got to figure out how to start doing that. Number two is this decline of the dashboard, where it's really not the dashboard itself, but how we use dashboards that are declining, right? The idea that we had to look at a visual that shows us charts and graphs of how to make sense of numbers is not going away. But the idea that the dashboard will be the end-all be-all solution to all of our decision-making problems is proven to be not realistic. Most dashboards and most businesses are used just like a glorified Excel spreadsheet where you have a bunch of charts and graphs, bar charts, line charts, and so forth. And dashboards do have a value, and they help us make sense of numbers because we can learn a lot more looking at a couple of charts and graphs than we can looking at thousands of rows of data. So dashboards are still here, and BI tools are still going to be, business intelligence tools are still going to be around, but they have to be a little bit more focused, a little more specific, less like this is going to solve all our problems, and more like this is one more tool and us helping us make sense of the numbers in our business. So dashboards are declining in the way that we think they're omnipotent, but they're not necessarily useless. Decision intelligence is this term that's kind of popped up, and we're always thinking of new terms. This is one of the newer ones. Decision intelligence, providing a framework to help data analytics leaders design, compose, model, align, execute, monitor, and tune decision models, right? So we're using AI and analytics to help us determine what analytics we should use. Right, so we always think of KPIs or key performance indicators that make the most sense to us. But sometimes we don't value the ones we really should. We fall in love with certain things that sound great but aren't great measurements. If you've ever watched Moneyball, there's a great example in Moneyball where most people that talk about baseball players look at things like home runs and stolen bases, and those are the key indicators in how successful a hitter or a player is. But in Moneyball, it is all about using data to show the most important metric is how often you get on base. And that was a metric people weren't looking at. You can't look at the back of a baseball card and see how many times they get on base. You can make a calculation for it, and they have a calculation for it, but it's like on the far right. It's not the ones that are in big and bold. You don't get awards for highest on base percentage. Decision intelligence is exactly what that is all about. Figuring out what are your most important KPIs in your business. How do you model them? How do you align them? How do you execute off of them? How do you get actionable insights out of your most important data points based on the data, not based on what you think is the best? This is kind of revolutionary. The term decision intelligence is a new spin on an old thing, but most companies are still making decisions based on gut feel, based on what they think are the most important KPIs, which are not, and decision intelligence tries to kind of fix that. Number 4 is X analytics, right? I love this one. It's like trying to find a range of different structured data that you can put in an X axis is where it comes from, right? So not traditional XY analysis where you see a point and kind of figure out how you got to that point, but really thinking what are on the axes, right? Really, what are the different ranges that you need to be able to look at data beyond just numbers, right? So it's no longer just numbers, but text analytics, video analytics, audio analytics. What else can be analyze besides numbers to help us create cool visuals and understand how things are happening, right? So toughest challenges that we have to solve in a business are often not things that are easily gathered in data. Customer, sentiment is something we can try to measure in data, but there's so many data sources out there that if we just look at people that fill out a feedback form on a survey and we're not capturing things from Twitter feeds, we're not capturing conversations on Facebook, we're not looking at people's comments on YouTube videos, if we're not capturing all that, we're missing a part of the action, right? So X analytics is trying to identify what is the X most important to each piece of analysis that we do. Number 5, augmented data management. This is a big one, right? And this is kind of the thing where for years we've had database guys that are out there building huge data sets, cleaning data sets, building models, be able to put together different types of queries to gather the models. Time consuming. It was always done somewhere else by some guys in a dark room that we never talked to. That whole thing is being automated. So most data management is drag and drop. It's something that we can do from ourselves. And we should all basically have our own little personal data environment where we only need the data we need and we get it when we need it and it's refreshed real time. It's always at our fingertips. We don't need to have all our data structured in one giant warehouse that we then have to go out, get access to and pull things. And that whole process has become augmented with efficiencies that come through either AI or just smarter technology. So using your data in a managed way is so different now than it was 20 years ago. So augmented data management is number 5. Next one, cloud's a given, right? Your data has to be in the cloud. This whole idea that we've fought for years about keeping data safe, yeah, we have to keep it safe, but having it behind a firewall on a physical server in a physical environment in a safe room, we still need to think about that kind of stuff, but that's not the end all be all of it, right? We need access to it wherever we're at. So we should put more effort on securing data on the cloud and making cloud data available to people that need it in our business. And this has really, really taken off the last several years, right? So basically any business on the cutting edge of analytics anymore, any business doing things with data, whether they be a big business or a small business, they're using the cloud to be the main place most of their data is stored, accessed, and analyzed. So cloud is a given, right? It's a huge trend that's not going to change. Trend number 7, data analytics worlds collide, right? So data analysis and the practice of analytics are now one. Right? It used to be where data analysis and analytics could be different things. Your data team was an IT team in one building in one part of the country. Your analytics team was a bunch of analysts embedded in the management team in a different part of the country. In a small business, you have to do both. And now big businesses are figuring out you have to do both, right? So you have to be able to manage the data and analyze the data. If you analyze the data but don't understand the management, you're missing pieces of the puzzle. And if you just focus on managing the data, you don't know what the business is going to do with it, how they need it, and what they need when they need it. So you're not really helping the analytics team out. So this kind of symbiosis that's come together is a new trend that's going to continue to accelerate, where data and analytics are really now one team in any organization. Number 8, data marketplaces and exchanges. Where can you go to exchange third-party data? We've been buying data, and we have our own internal data, but the idea now is an exchange of data, especially data where you can, mask it, whitewash it, be able to only share certain things in the data to get a bigger picture of things, just something new. So data marketplaces and exchanges been around for a while, but they're really picking up because it allows you to compare your data sets internally to external data sets. So you really get a better sense of where you're at in the marketplace, where you're at in the world, where you're at with your competition, where you are with a cutting edge of your industry, and where you're at. That really needs to come through using data marketplace and exchanges to buy data, especially sanitized data that you can use to compare to your own. Number 9 is blockchain. Blockchain is something that people are like, oh my God, blockchain changed everything. And it really didn't change everything. Blockchain provides the lineage of transactions. It gives you that transparency. But big companies haven't bought into it. We still haven't been convinced, and I'm not convinced, but I'm old. So maybe someone will figure it out at some point. But right now, blockchain is not something that is huge in analytics, and because by the nature of it, you can't really trust where the data is coming from, and you can't really have full ownership of the data to be able to swear this is what we should do based on this data, because it's not something that you really control. So by nature, blockchain and analytics is got a ways to figure out. So people are still thinking about it. It's one of the top 10 trends in Lawrence's article about how to merge the two together. Keep reading about it, stay up on it, but it's something that I am still skeptical about how blockchain is really going to revolutionize the way we use data. So number 10, last one, relationships from the foundation of data. Relationships form the foundation of data and next value, right? Relationships, right? So understanding relationships. Why, if this person does this, do they buy this? And why does that influence this person to buy this? And understanding how things work at that micro level, but then taking all that data to look at the macro view is something that's really big, right? Trying to understand customer behavior. This is something that the tech titans are on the forefront of and have figured out, right? When you think about how Facebook works or how Amazon works or how Google works, I mean, it's almost scary sometimes where you're on Google and you're looking at, vacation destinations. You don't buy anything, you don't sign up for anything, you just check out a couple pages for vacations in the Bahamas next summer, and then boom, in your Facebook newsfeed are all these ads for these Jamaica vacations. And it's not just a vacation in the Caribbean, it's the kind of vacation that would appeal to you based on your age, your location, your family status, your work style, whatever you do. They tailor these things to share relationships, and this the ability to break down data and predict what you're going to want. Not just you, but everyone around you. This is something that really is still driving forward a lot of analytics work for companies. And you have, again, the big ones on the top of the food chain have figured this out and have been using it, but everyone else is trying to catch up. So using graphic analytics to help data analysts and leaders find out the relationship in data is not new, and it's never going to be less important than it is now. But it's something that we have to figure out how to stay on the cutting edge. So understanding relationships and how they form is the foundation of data analytics value per Lawrence. Go to stuff. So if you're looking for someone to help you with data in your business, if you're part of a big company and you need more analytics help, we can do training for you. We can help you train your analysts. If you're a smaller business and you're looking for someone to do this for you because you don't have time, you want to outsource it to an analyst, we got analytics skilled analysts that can do that. We have VAs, virtual assistants that can do analytics. So if you need help building a dashboard, preparing elements for data storytelling, you want to be able to clean up your data, you want to be able to do more, or just want general virtual assistant help beyond analytics. You want someone to help you with videos or graphics or social media, check us out at sonicva.com. We can do all of that for you. We help you be more consistent, build more clarity, and build more certainty between you and your audience, because we are data driven and all of our team is committed to using analytics to help you. So that's my talk for today. I hope it helped just kind of cover these trends in analytics that I see as important and how I see them being valuable to your business. So thanks for your time. Now go out there and analyze some data.